Serious question. How do people in the US afford anything? Dead and going without. The US isn't the only place where $2,500 a month isn't sustainable in large cities. US citizen here. It depends on a lot of factors. Mainly salary. To give you a very rough idea, for a family of 3 the average salary is something like $70,000 here in the US. Then you have location. In Bumble but nowhere. That's a king's ransom. In San Francisco double that is still almost poverty. Living here in NJ are nice but not crazy middle-class family homes sold for $550,000. That buys a straight-up McMansion in some Illinois suburbs. My girlfriend and I make $187,000 between us, and that allows us a decent life with all the things you described. We also both have health insurance with copays covered by wellness activities, so healthcare isn't an issue. But different professions and choice of going to college and then college major can have a huge difference in salary. I'm in finance and she's in medicine, but other career paths pay way differently. There's a wide variety of outcomes here in the US, and it mostly revolves around where in the country you live, whether you went to college and what your major was, and whether or not you got a head start with familial wealth. I got helped along with a free car and condo, for example. We really are a diverse country of all walks. And to say nobody can afford anything is a bit reductive, I think, friend. It's not quite as apocalyptic as it may appear, even though there are definitely areas for improvement. I have a family of 4 and we live off my husband's income of about $55K. I also have brain cancer, which isn't cheap to have, but we are pretty comfortable overall. No, the real question is, where do you live? Because I want to live there. The international travel is a bit different in the States. Going from Miami to Seattle is like going from Istanbul to London. Plenty of people go within a few hundred miles for a cheap getaway. Paris to Rome is like LA to Denver, if it's even that far. It's not easy to get by in the States, and most people are within 23 paychecks of losing everything. It's definitely a grind here. I have a very unique but awesome minimalist situation where my rent is only $700. And my monthly income is approximately equals $2,000. And I work near enough to bike to work. But after buying food for 2 weeks and literally 1 or 2 very reasonable luxury purchases, an eighth of weed and or a bottle of whiskey, plus any doctor's appointment copays and meds, I'm flat broke in 1.5 weeks. And I have the least amount of expenses anyone could reasonably have in a highly populated city in the US. Rent and a phone bill. I try and pay the phone bill up front a year in advance so I don't have to worry about it each month. Most people aren't spending hundreds of thousands for college unless you're trying to be a doctor or lawyer. The average home price is around $350K, meaning there's houses that choose less and houses that cost more. You find one that fits your budget. Also, the vast majority of Americans have health insurance. I'm not saying it's cheap to live here, but also there's places with very high costs of living as well as areas with lower costs of living. Part is that the average wages are higher than a lot of places. So you'll be earning more at a decent job than you would in other countries. Part is that there are huge amounts of poverty in the US. And people go without at a greater rate than other countries as well. I'm not in the US, but that amount also would be poverty levels where I live. That would be the amount someone would be paid if they worked a minimum wage job. Most jobs pay more where I am to afford the high cost of living. I'm lucky in that I work in a nice restaurant and make bank on tips because I kiss ass. I can afford my lifestyle because I don't want for much. I'm never going to have a family. house, or pet. And most of my enjoyment comes from free things like parks, cafes with free Wi-Fi, and pirating things to watch. I don't drink and my meals are pretty basic. I tip well when I go out, but I don't go out often. And the video gaming community is so toxic. I don't feel like I'm missing out by not having an Xbox PS. Plus the few PC, mobile games I do play have toxic communities that make me not want to play any games. Good old-fashioned American debt. Because the median person here makes way more money than the median person in your country. Don't live in New York, or Paris, or Singapore or Hong Kong. Yes, things are expensive here, but a lot of people make decent to very good wages here. I mean, America is the largest economy in the world. You don't get that without a lot of people being able to afford a lot of goods and services. By drinking 11 beers and smoking a fat bowl of weed and forgetting about it. So in your country, does nobody own a home or cars? A mortgage is the payment for your home or property. And upkeep and payments vehicles is a thing. They live in countries with one of the highest disposable incomes in the world. They just complain, because that's what first worlders do. We are struggling. I make roughly $2,000 USD a month. I am single. I cannot afford to rent a home, own a home, or live by myself. I cannot afford to have children, so I do not date anyone. The only thing I can afford is gas for my car, insistence on my car, food, and sometimes clothes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.